Hey, Poodle family, how we doing today? Oh boy, we have a really good one for you today. I think I think isn't there an unwritten rule? I think in the in the Telegram that you're not allowed to talk politics, but we are going to break that today because we have a member of the Poodle fam on today. Where we're going to talk about the ins and outs, right? We know that crypto is really an untapped, sadly, as a lot of government sees, an untapped resource for them, and we also know it's a developing market. We know there's a lot of changes in the way economics is working moving forward. So we happen to have, as a Poodle family member, running for governor of Arkansas. I mean, this is we're excited about this. So with no further ado, let me click here. Y'all are gonna have to let me know that you've got his audio when he here, because remember when I tried to do this the other day before my last guest, I didn't have audio on the flip side. So y'all have to let me know if you don't hear him. Ricky, welcome to the show. Please tell everyone who you are and kind of what you do.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Dr. Joe. Really appreciate it.
Oh, of course.
My name is Ricky Harrington. I'm just a community member of Poodle who happens to be running for governor, simply put.
Just randomly running for governor. But this is awesome. So let's start. We're going to get into some, so everyone knows that I kind of wing these, right? But I actually have a ton of notes. We did a little pre-chat, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So we are going to jump into it. But first, talk a little bit. Let's start with your background. How did you even get into crypto? And then we'll get into kind of how you got it and found Poodle. But talk a little bit your history with crypto.
Well, for me, of course, it was Bitcoin. That was my first entry into the crypto sphere. And then I started mining. So I come into crypto mainly as a miner, not dev. I don't know all the particulars when it comes to launching tokens and things like that. But mining, yes, I know what to do when it comes to mining. And so one day I was just searching eBay, trying to buy myself some more mining equipment, and I won't name this token, but its name has safe in it. and I saw a mining contract, and on eBay they have these little 24-hour mining contracts. You pay them $40 or something, and you get whatever was mined for those 24-hour period. And I saw a particular token, and I knew, because I had studied all the algorithms and what hardware and whatnot, that seems a little fishy. And I was talking to my wife about this token. I was like, $40 for 20 million tokens? What is this? And so I got to digging in, and that was my entry into DeFi. And one of my first DeFi tokens that I had bought was Poodle. And joined the Telegram and everything. And I probably did something a little silly. I had mentioned that I'm running for governor, and it just kind of took off after that. Just being a part of the community there, and the ups and downs that we went through, especially with going from V1 to V2, from the Ethereum chain to the Binance chain. And been here through the ups and downs and continue to stay. Have not sold one V1 and have not sold one Poodle of V2. And I make that pledge.
Yes.
I won't sell it.
You always like the hoodle or the poodles. That's right. That is awesome. So it is really neat because that means you and I were in Poodle basically right around the same time, that first March pump where we knew this was going to be something. And so I really like let's talk about, so the mining and getting into that obviously was back. You started doing that even before this kind of big, let's call it meme coin, fanaticism that's kind of taken over. What made you decide, hey, I want to, let's put, and I don't know if I can say the right way, is people might say that, Bitcoin mining is legit, going into a meme coin isn't. So how do you sit there and go, no, I this is what I believe in and what I want to invest in? What makes you make that transition?
Well, for me, it's all about decentralized finance
Mhm.
and access to people making investments and seeing their investments grow. And then the potential technology, especially that's associated with DeFi, NFTs, and other swaps and exchanges as well. It's just this emerging technology. And, for people that may not have a whole lot of money and they want to start investing and start thinking about money in a smart manner, DeFi is the way. It is the way. And I don't want to talk down on anybody else's tokens. I hope everybody is successful. But I'm hoodling the poodle.
All right. So talk to us then about, why DeFi, and also because you have a great perspective, why is either our government, where does our government, and I'm going to speak, obviously we can speak for the United States and our local governments here, but how does our government view it? And are there things that we need to worry about, even considering we just had a huge infrastructure bill just pass?
Yeah, the infrastructure bill, a lot of people are upset or they have the critique about it is that the language in it is too broad. And you'll have to forgive me for being a little cynical on this. People that are very good with words, they write things in a certain manner that people who are not good with words might not understand.
Mhm.
And we have a legislature, especially on the federal level, of people who are the same type, lawyers. We need lawyers,
Mhm.
to serve us and whenever, we come into situations where we need a lawyer, but in our houses and the Senate, things like that, especially when you have broad language targeting an emerging technology like cryptocurrency, DeFi, and blockchain. I think, the word broker is extremely broad.
Mm.
That some people believe that even traders would be considered brokers there. And just the taxes that maybe some of our legislators are eyeballing with DeFi as a stream of revenue. And, as I said earlier, this country was founded, the United States was founded over issues of taxes.
Mhm.
And we're coming into an era now where there's going to be serious tax hikes. And people are looking at DeFi because there's a lot of money that has been made in DeFi. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
There's been some fortunes made. There's not been 100% winners. But, just seeing that, someone that had a bag of sheep that was worth, $5 billion at a 20% to 30%. What is the capital gains tax rate on that?
No kidding. Yeah.
That's a lot of money for the government to
Well,
be taking in.
and then my question then, and maybe you would know better than us, is and no one loves paying taxes. No one does it, but we understand that they're, a necessary evil for certain things. Now, granted, as a libertarian, you may or may disagree with that. So I will say maybe, however, but listen to this. Well, and then the thing is where do you decide, or where would you even pay taxes on it? Because we know there's so much shift in the market. I mean, even if you've got Bitcoin that can go to 60 and then down to 30 and then back up to 68, whatever, like, what are they going to say? Always pay tax. Well, this is what the government would say. Always pay taxes every time it goes higher, right? But where would you even be able to, say that I'm taking it? Is it only when you would take profits or whatever? I mean, I think there's so much that's impossible to know because it's so fluid right now. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, there's just so many different variables in that, and you'd make it complicated on a lot of people that are just trying to, invest, stick the toe in the water and see what it's like, or to become a trader. And if most of your income from trading is going to taxes instead, somebody could probably, support themselves, uh, trade in crypto, really,
Mm-hmm.
support their families, and it not be a whole lot of money. Some people can live off $40,000. Some people want to be filthy rich. Other people do not. But with what they just need, and you're going to take half of that, of course, paying taxes is necessary evil. Um, a lot of libertarians believe taxation is theft. I'm not quite there yet. But if I'm going to pay taxes, I don't want my taxes going toward, pork spending, going toward somebody's buddy that's a corporate, big wig and, things like that. there's going to be taxes on crypto, if they hammer that out, it needs to go towards our people. It's the people's money essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. And, and so I want to go back to something you said, this infrastructure bill, because I think this is going to, right now, because we're so early in how this goes, you said the wording is, and get this right, that anyone who is trading crypto is considered a broker, which has really, that's pretty powerful, right? Because does that mean regulations apply? All of, how would that end up impacting the average person who just wants to, open up their crypto app and buy a few things?
Yes, it'll make their taxes, filing taxes extremely complicated. In my opinion, if there's a simple way to, whenever you do your taxes, file that, put aside some. It should just be a simple capital gains tax and not tied up. I mean, to begin with, if I hate omnibus bills because there's so many things tied up in it, it should be one bill. If you want to make a crypto bill, it should be one, and it should not be tied up into infrastructure, because whenever you start tying things in together, that's whenever it makes it more complicated to unravel it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever there becomes a problem. Let's say if there was a big, huge problem in the way that they are proposing to tax crypto, and they want to go in and fix it, it's going to take a lot of work on trying to adjust the infrastructure bill. So I really believe that if they want to do something with this, it should be one bill. Cut the omnibus bills out. Cut that stuff out.
Yep. But, the reason they wrap it all together is because they don't want you to unwrap it, right? Come on. They don't want you to see all the stuff that's hidden in there. But I absolutely agree with you. And if we kept, crypto and blockchain, everything separate, we could then actually control it in the right way. I mean, at some point, and I want you to tell me, am I right or wrong, that digital currencies in some form or another, whether it be Bitcoin, another blockchain, anything in the future, will take over national currencies at some point in the future?
This is my opinion on it, and I believe that there's a strong possibility for it to happen. And I say this from just any other digital content that people, I'd use the word consume, purchase. Mm-hmm. Somebody plays Call of Duty. They buy Call of Duty skins and things like that. They have no value aside from what you see the value in it. Oh, I want to buy this Scream skin for my Call of Duty character. But now we have currency in that form. Currency. I believe that it could be a parallel system. And I believe for hedging against crashes that we should let these two systems exist concurrently.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that, because I think, my opinion is it's still really early, and like right now we shouldn't be legislating it. I mean, you want to protect people. Like, we all hate seeing the rug pull. We hate seeing people who get taken advantage of. But to me, crypto is the best equalizer and equity across the globe, and an opportunity to really give so many people, opportunities that they wouldn't be able to have. If you think about our NFT designers, people who could live in other third world countries, if you had the right infrastructure behind you, as far as, getting your computer being able to digitize, we can actually have people feed their families, like you said, in ways that we couldn't have ever seen before. And I think there's so much possibilities, and I think that, it's our government's going to ruin that opportunity by overdoing everything and not see the positives that I think are possible there.
Yes, yeah. I would agree with that. It's a new emerging technology. We shouldn't shackle it down. Take Poodle, for instance. We thought the rug pull and won. Mm-hmm. Instead of focusing on, yes, there's a lot of rug pulls and there's crooks out there, we should focus on how this crypto sphere has given people the opportunity to come together to pool their funds, not just funds, but also pool their strengths, um, the minds together toward a common goal. There's no reason to try to stop that. I mean, that's a positive right there. It's showing that the people can democratize our money. We can come together and we can overcome those negative and bad actors in the sphere. Let us handle it.
Yep.
And if we can handle it, we don't need the legislation.
Now that's the libertarian thing to say right there. See, there you go. That we totally. I mean, the thing is that we all agree. Everyone in the DeFi space believes that we know how to manage our own money, right? Now, I think there's a point. I admit this too. I fell for a random, especially early on. I fell for a bunch of them. And even did some testing when I was trying to see which, when I threw money I probably knew was going to be a waste, just to kind of see how things would go. And though there's bad actors, the power of the people, and I think that is what makes Poodle special, is being able to see you get some tokens like Poodle where the good people flock to, where those who really want to help the space, invest in the space, and grow the space have come together. And I think we see that in our Telegram and just in how we help, how we help new investors, right? Like with questions and stuff like that. I mean, kind of your thoughts there?
Well, especially with the augmented reality that Poodle has, coming out. I mean, that's, to me, I think that's the new future of gaming. Is not just to play the game on the controller, but to you really play the game in some form and fashion. Instead of seeing it on your TV, whether you put your goggles or whatever apparatus that might be created, it seems real, and that's a new technology there that we're moving in that direction, and a lot of other tokens are doing the same. And that creates a market right there. And then that's a whole new economy. So, I'm going back around in a circle saying that, legislators need to stay away and let the people try the experiment.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because even you talk about that, like think back when we both first invested back in, say March of, this, was it only this year, last year, whenever, March, right? It seems like an eternity ago, but it's only been a few months. We weren't talking about things like this with NFTs and gaming and like we knew these things existed, but this is a market that's really forming itself in a very short amount of time. And who knows what it'll even be in a year, and what will develop out of that. Even if you see 2D, NFTs and now 3D NFTs to augmented reality and like the wearables that we're working on, all of these things now start to form a different type of society. I think as we I think you and I mentioned before hitting record and going live was like even just thinking of, the whole metaverse idea of, people are saying that, right now we're at a time with, with these, virtual world type of things that, was similar to getting your first email address in 1995. You knew it was special, but had no idea why yet. Getting your iPhone, 12 years ago was special, but you didn't know why yet. And I think that's kind of where we are now, right? There's something special that even Poodle and, kind of what we're doing, the space we're filling is special, but I don't think we actually know why yet. I think that's still going to come.
I'm just thinking about possible applications in the real world for NFTs. Title companies, issuing titles in NFTs. Because you always see there's a refurbished title or, somebody lost the paper or something like that. But, if states started issuing titles in NFTs, your driver's license is an NFT, things like that we usually have to carry around. And now we only have to carry it around on this device that we have. There's plenty of applications that could benefit the government in some of the things that the government issues there, and save a little money.
Yeah, wow, that is actually really interesting to think about. Because we hear these ads on the radio for home title lock, don't be frauded, and all this stuff. Well, that was actually really interesting to think that true ownership could be that digital stamp, right? That this is half the lock of that key, right? To be able to sell your house or just transfer it over by, sell it, transfer it over, trade it. There could be a really interesting world. Now we're speaking out loud. Hey, Poodle family, we need to have let's start a digital escrow house here, because this is there's really real opportunities. You're right, and I think about it as ways to protect people. Because there's as comes through the chat all the time is the blockchain doesn't lie. Everything is there, both anonymous yet public at the same time. Right? True authenticity can happen through it. And I love that real world ideas. Do you have any, I'm just going to pick your brain, I'm throwing this out there. What other types of actual, besides the gaming, which is fun, I'm looking forward to it, are there other real world applications that we could be thinking, exploring, or you might see coming down the road?
Universal healthcare.
Oh.
A healthcare token. And it's something that I've kind of talked about for a while and been working on. And, in my politics, in my campaign, and I say we need a healthcare revolution. And, to take on some of these big, health insurance companies. Okay, I'm going to get real political here. When the Affordable Care Act was passed in America, there was a lot of people complaining, a lot of people cheering. But who did you not hear complaining? The insurance companies, because they knew they were about to get paid. And if you have a health insurance token where everybody's buying the token and paying for their health insurance or health care needs with this token, and we have mass adoption where physicians and other providers are, receiving payment in this, we be able to take control of our health care in a sense where we don't feel helpless. We're not at the beck and we're not waiting on legislation or waiting for the government to fix it. We fix it ourselves. We shouldn't have people, going bankrupt because they get sick. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
And so, if somebody want to make a healthcare token, go ahead and make it. Go ahead and do that. I'll be one of the first people to buy it.
I love that. And you're right, because again, the way that we can. And you see so many different uses, right? Because if you could use that for, say, a bare minimum care, but you could also, in theory, have those who want higher levels up of care do invest, have more tokens, right? I think you end up with a great, almost, compromise. I don't know if you're allowed to do compromise in politics. I don't know if that's allowed, but
it should be allowed.
No, I absolutely love that. And it's interesting if you think about things, and I see, like to me, I really think entertainment, because I came through the entertainment industry and I came through, and that's where I really see a lot of use of kind of the direction of the digital world because it's natural. But I love your ability to think about, helping real life situations, where I look at the fun, but as someone who is a politician, you have to look at lives are impacted, right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, is how can you impact lives off of what we're doing? And I think that's a really interesting way of doing it. And I look at just, heck, we give to charity, right? If you think about, what if there was a healthcare token where 1% of every transaction went to universal healthcare? That would be pretty amazing, actually. If you had something like that where you could do that and then others could, could invest. So I think that's awesome. I know it's kind of getting, I don't know. I'm going to pause there and let you have your thoughts again. Then we're going to get back to Poodle, the reason we're here, right?
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that healthcare token. It could be, similar to some of the tokenomics and other tokens that are out there. You buy and then, a percentage goes to, a building fund where we're building clinics, and there's whatever the name of the healthcare token is, there's at least one clinic in every state, and then you could build up on from that. There's a scholarship fund for people that want to get into healthcare, that are dedicated to healthcare, that can receive a scholarship, and then they go serve in one of the clinics that are established. There's a lot of things that you could do with something like that and have real world impact and a real solution to a problem that we all know exists.
Yeah. That's an amazing thought. And I know, and the thing is this conversation, and we're talking about a token that a use case, and really it's a utility. There's almost no reason why a poodle couldn't do the same thing, right? And in a way we do when we give to our charity and we support our canines for disabled kids. We're essentially doing the same thing, which is using a token for good, right? And beyond an investment, beyond a meme and fun, it actually is there to create good for everyone. And that's what I really, really love. And so let's talk now about, the future of Poodle and kind of where what are you excited about seeing? I know you're active on the Telegram. Let's talk now a little about how you see this specific token being able to grow and what you're looking forward to.
Well, I've been very open about my two children that are on the autism spectrum. And, service dogs, a lot of people say that, an autistic child having a service dog would be, an immense asset for them, especially, in dealing with things and going out. And that's one of the part that I love about Poodle is that we hooked up with a charity for disabled children and offering, to pay for the fees to have one of those service dogs. And, that can grow. That can grow right there into something more where we specifically trying to fill a need. And, where there's a need, there's service.
Absolutely love that. And, I've told this story before on previous podcasts and episodes. And I feel like when we saw this back in March, right, when it was the launch of every whatever token that you could think of, and it was kind of like everyone created a website and said, oh, we're going to give this much back to the vendors. And we have charity, and we have and it was like kind of like a line item. Like it was kind of like you had to write it or else no one was going to invest in it. But then when we had Kristen on and we heard about the fact that, yes, we actually donated money, which I'm actually would be surprised if how many of those who claimed charity actually donated to charity. First off, I would be really interested to see if they did. And we know we did. And then when Kristen came on and said, 6 scholarships went to be able to pay for this and help real kids. And at that moment, this whole thing became really real. Right. It was no longer just a following the charts every day and, putting in a little, picture of a poodle, a poodle emoji and a rocket emoji and a telegram. It was like, oh, no, we're actually changing lives. Like,
yes, absolutely. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty awesome. And hopefully, and as we start to see, it was interesting because even this last month. So let's, kind of moving to this last month that we've had. We went, and I think it was like 2 months ago, we were able to donate like 500 to the charity. I think this last month we did a 1,200 and something because volume, right? And that's it. The more volume we have, the more we can end up, supporting that. So what are your thoughts? So obviously this last month we've seen this huge 4-week pump, right, for us. And I think we see this exciting stuff happening. Kind of, what are your thoughts there? How are you following it? Where's your slight? I mean, I know no one can crystal ball, in crypto, but how are you interpreting our pumps and what's happening?
Well, for a while we went down there, way down, and we continued to persevere. And then, what we're showing people is that there's a community behind here that's willing to persevere, and we're actively working to deliver products and to deliver on our word. We just talked about the charity there, and it's not something that we just tack on to attract more investors. It's who we are. It's who we are. And that's what, really sets us apart. And so if there's anybody that wants to, invest more in Poodle, know that they are becoming a member of a community that is seeking to make real changes in our society. We're not making, just if we change one life, that's still a big change, because it's big to the person whose life that changed, helping someone out in that situation. And so, with the things that we have coming out, I'm definitely feeling bullish on it.
Yeah,
I am. But more importantly, I feel the strongest, the most important thing for me is the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I totally agree. And I think that's really what pulled me in, and really made me feel like, okay, this is the one that I'm in on. This is my Poodle family, right? This is the one I love. So talk a little bit about the community aspect and, either your personal experience or just why that's important for, an altcoin.
Well, there's a lot of other investments that I do have. And for me, this just been the community. Not only from just how welcoming and warm a lot of, the dev team and people like yourself and She Who Holds, there's just a good community there. And it's been warm. It's, been encouraging one another. And also, the main thing is it's my interactions with a lot of the members in the community. It's kind of been an incubator for ideas, just about some of the things that I talked with you just a few moments ago. They started by talking with members of the POODL community. That's when most of those ideas came from. Just bouncing those ideas back and forth on how would it work in the chain. So that's the number one thing for me, is that it has been an incubator for.
I love that. And so what are the particular ones you're most excited about? Like, obviously we have the NFTs, the apps. Like, if you're going to pick one of the, the roadmap, everything we're doing, if you had to say, this is the one that's going to put us over, what do you think that is?
Definitely the augmented reality.
Yeah.
That is the one.
Yeah. And I think that there's so much just chance for it to, really take off as a pop culture thing. I think that's where there's room for mass adoption. As we've been hearing, only 3% of the world even uses crypto. And so to have something that can then pull people in, it becomes a tangible thing that has so much more opportunity for mass adoption. And I think that's one of those things and I'll just put here on the chat, geocaching. I think gamifying it is really kind of cool too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on a slight little tangent here.
It's all you.
I have a 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old, and I play video games with my 4-year-old. Everybody has their own hobbies, and playing video games is one of my hobbies. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking at some of those old games, some of those old 1980s, playing Altered Beast, and then comparing what games are like now. And I was thinking back, way back then, when I had a Sega Master System, when I was my son's age,
mm-hmm.
and had playing R-Type. I never would have thought games would be like they are now. I never would have thought that I'd have an ability to play a game with someone who's across the world, and in real time. Of course, there's issues of lagging every now and then, and people rage quit, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm thinking, what's next? What's next? And that augmented reality gaming, it has potential to be very.
Yep. No, I just picture one day, I like when we see all the little, the augmented reality, the little poodles all over the place. And I posted one with the poodle driving my Tesla, and I did, a few different little things like that. But what is interesting, I can't wait for the day where we're just got the app and we're out somewhere at the grocery store and some random person has is where it has their little poodle that's following their virtual poodle next to them and going, hey, I got one of those too. And I think there is an opportunity for huge mass adoption for what we're doing, and just kind of having that avatar slash second life that goes in your real life. I think there's huge opportunities there, and it is such an untapped potential and place to go. And
just think about it. First we had the telephone. Now you and I are having a conversation where we can see one another face to face. And, that next step is, okay, I need to make a call. I need to call Joe. And I put on my glasses, and it's like you're right there. It adds another whole depth to the conversation that you're having, where you can, talking to someone face to face, there's a lot of information that's conveyed. You got the nonverbal communication, not only what people are saying, but how they say it, all that different type of interpretation whenever we communicate with one another.
Yeah.
But having that where, I see you as a 3D image like you really hear, just adds a whole new level of communication.
Yeah. I think, no, that is awesome. There's so many, you're getting me excited. Like, I love talking about all this because this is where there's so much potential. So I want to start to close up because I would just keep you for hours, but I do want to ask then, just kind of going back, because, we talked about, kind of how the government could be impacting us. How do you think we can impact our governments? Like, what can we bring to the table that maybe can help change or wherever? I mean, I'll really let you take that the other way, because there's got to be something we can do too.
My main, perspective on this is an opportunity to solve some of the problems that we are facing in society. We're probably going to be moving toward automation, and you've heard people like Andrew Yang talk about UBI and things like that. Well, DeFi could be a solution to that, a universal basic income whenever we get to that level there of automation. And I really think in ways that, as I said, we can help out the government, is that the people can solve some of the problems themselves. And that could, relieve some of the spending that our government does. One of the biggest bills that our government has, and I believe we should have, things like Social Security and Medicaid, because there are people in our society that they're working hard. They're not just trying to get a handout. Going and trying to apply for those benefits, it's extremely humiliating. You pretty much have to show them everything you have, and especially when it comes to your spending, just to receive that assistance. So, DeFi could be a way to take that, $1-2 trillion bill that our government has, and it could be fixed. At least try.
Yeah. I think that's so right. And I love that you think of it in those terms, because, I can think of times where, where we would joke, at times on a Telegram is, the people who maybe, invested $50 and then, do the most screaming about, oh, it dropped to this and now I only worth $6, blah, blah, blah. But you actually realize that, well, you know what? Well, that $50, that to this person, that could have been everything. That could have been what they really were hoping was going to make a change in their lives. And the thing is, it could, right? We know that, pretty simply, $50 after you 100x or 1000x becomes real money, real life-changing money for people. And that's a real possibility with this. And I think we want to make sure that we never forget that every dollar that's put in and every single investor really is somebody who has is putting faith in us, right? Even some of them only in a small way, some in a bigger way, some just to turn a profit, some to make change. Everyone has their story as to why. But I think that by being able to engage everybody, and this is one thing I really like about our Telegram, is how, there's more education going on in our Telegram. Like you said, a lot of your ideas and the things that you've kind of had has come from those conversations. And that's one thing I really think is special about Poodle is recognizing the value behind every single investor, not just a bunch of big whales, which seems that we have very, very, very few of, which is awesome because that means the money is being spread around much more. But that ability to care for each investor is, I think, one thing that makes us special. And I'm assuming you have experienced the same thing then with that.
Absolutely. I have, being a part of this community. It's been a blessing.
Oh, absolutely. And what has also been a blessing is talking to you today. So I appreciate your time. I love the fact that we were able to connect and come on. I want to keep having you back, especially as legislation and things does come out, because we know we'll start to have more of that. I would love for you to help us unroll the layers behind a lot of this stuff to know what it means for us as we go, as we continue through. So, you're going to continue to hear from me. But first off, I'm pretty sure people listen to this. You just got a lot of fans in Arkansas. So how can people help support you win that governor's race?
Well, my website is rickyharrington.com. You're an American citizen. You can make a donation through Antidote on the website there. My Twitter, Rick D. Harrington. You can follow me there. You can also follow me on Facebook, RDH for Liberty, at facebook.com /RDH for Liberty. And my whole goal is to empower people to chart a new path, to find ways to, make things better, for all of us, because we're all just trying to live. If we have children, we want to see our children grow, and if we're lucky, hopefully to see a couple of grandchildren, and make this world just a little bit better when we leave than when we got here. That's just a hope, simple hope there.
Wow. I'm pretty sure I could never end the show better than that. So I think that's how we're going to end the show. So thank you very much, Ricky. Thank you, Poodle fam, for watching. Please like, share, tell 100 of your closest friends. American citizens, donate to Ricky and help him get our cause in a governor's seat. So we love you all, and we will see you next week.